Welcome to Starts of Soul, where stories touch your heart and remind you that kindness still exists in the world. If you love emotional tales that inspire and uplift, make sure to subscribe and stay with us till the end, because today's story will remind you that even the smallest act of goodness can change a life forever. Music transitions into a gentle acoustic background. It was a bright morning in a small town on the outskirts of the city. The streets were quiet, the kind of quiet that made you notice the sound of birds and the wind brushing through the trees. On the side of an empty country road, a young man named Ethan was sitting beside his old, dusty pickup truck, wiping sweat from his forehead after finishing another small repair job. Ethan was only 22, but life had already tested him more than most people twice his age. His father had passed away when he was just 16, leaving behind a small auto repair shop, a place that was once full of laughter, tools, and the smell of engine oil. Ethan took over the shop to keep his father's dream alive. Money was tight, customers were few, but he worked hard, never complaining, never giving up. That morning, he had decided to take a quick drive outside of town to clear his head. As he drove, he noticed a shiny black luxury SUV parked on the side of the road, its hazard lights blinking. Standing beside it was a woman in a navy blue business dress, looking frustrated and trying to make a phone call. Ethan slowed down instinctively. Something inside him wouldn't let him drive past someone in need. He pulled over a few meters ahead and stepped out of his truck. The sun reflected off the polished hood of the SUV, and he noticed the flat tire immediately. "Looks like you've got a flat," Ethan said kindly, wiping his hands on a rag and walking closer. The woman turned, a bit startled at first. She looked to be in her early 30s, elegant and composed but visibly stressed. "Yeah, I was on my way to a meeting, and of course, this had to happen now," she sighed. "I've been trying to call roadside assistance, but there's no signal here." Ethan smiled reassuringly. "You're lucky I drove by then. I can fix that for you." The woman hesitated for a moment, glancing at his worn-out truck and oil-stained clothes. But his genuine smile eased her worries. "Really, you'd do that?" "Of course," he said, crouching down to inspect the tire. "No one should be stuck out here alone." As he got to work, loosening the bolts and lifting the car with the jack, the woman watched silently. There was something calm and focused about him, the way he handled each tool with confidence and care. "Do you do this for a living?" she asked. "Yeah," Ethan replied, tightening a bolt. "I run a small repair shop in town. My dad started it years ago. I'm just trying to keep it going." "That's nice," she said softly. "Must be tough running a business these days." He chuckled lightly. "You could say that, but I've learned that good work and honesty still count for something." As he continued working, she took a closer look at him, the way he smiled despite the grease on his hands, the way his voice carried a quiet strength. There was something genuine about him, something she hadn't seen in a long time. Within 15 minutes, Ethan had the spare tire mounted. He stood up, brushing dust off his jeans. "There you go, all set." The woman looked relieved. "That was fast. Thank you so much." "No problem," he said, smiling. "You're good to go now. Just make sure to get that tire patched up soon." She opened her purse and pulled out some cash. "Please take this, I insist." Ethan shook his head. "No need, just helping out." She frowned slightly. "Come on, you spent your time and effort. It's only fair." But he stepped back and smiled. "Honestly, ma'am, I didn't stop for money. My dad used to say, kindness is free, but it always pays back more than cash ever will, so just pay it forward someday." For a moment, she was speechless. No one had ever refused her money before, at least not since she had become who she was. Victoria Langford, CEO of one of the biggest tech companies in the city. But Ethan didn't know that. To him, she was just a stranger in need. She smiled, genuinely this time. "Well, Ethan, I'll make sure to remember that. Thank you." He nodded politely, waved goodbye, and got back into his truck. As he drove away, Victoria watched him disappear down the road, her heart strangely warm. It wasn't just the help that touched her, it was the sincerity behind it. A few days later, Ethan was back at his small garage, working on an old car that barely ran. The place was modest tools scattered around, walls stained from years of oil and grease. A small photo of his late father hung on the wall with the words "Honesty above all" engraved on a wooden sign below it. He was deep in work when a sleek black SUV pulled up outside, the same one from the road. Ethan looked up, surprised. "Well, if it isn't the flat tire lady." Victoria laughed lightly as she stepped out. "I wanted to thank you properly." "You already did," he replied. "Your car's running fine, right?" "It is, but I couldn't stop thinking about what you said, about kindness, and I wanted to talk to you about something." Ethan wiped his hands and gestured for her to sit on an old stool nearby. "Sure, what's up?" She looked around the garage, noticing the old equipment and the faded sign. "You've been running this place by yourself." "Yeah, it's not much, but it's mine. I'm trying to keep it alive, though business has been slow. Most people go to the fancy repair centers in the city." Victoria nodded thoughtfully. "I can see that, but you've got something those big shops don't: integrity." Ethan smiled faintly. "I just do what's right. My dad taught me that." After a pause, Victoria stood up and said, "I want to show you something. Can you come with me tomorrow? I promise it'll be worth your time." Ethan hesitated but agreed. "All right, why not?" The next morning, Victoria arrived to pick him up. They drove into the city, tall glass buildings, bustling streets, and a world far removed from Ethan's simple life. She parked in front of a massive building with her company's name displayed on it. Ethan stared, stunned. "Wait, this is your company?" She smiled. "Yes, I'm the CEO." He blinked, speechless. "You're kidding." "No," she said with a laugh. "And before you think I brought you here for some business deal, I just wanted to show you something." They entered the building. Inside, hundreds of employees worked at their desks. Victoria led him to a large window overlooking the city. "Ethan, I've built a lot. Money, power, success. But lately, I've realized I've forgotten what really matters. People like you reminded me that goodness still exists, that not everything is a transaction." Ethan looked at her, unsure what to say. "That means a lot, ma'am." She turned toward him. "I want to invest in something meaningful. I want to help you expand your garage, turn it into a real business. Maybe a training center for young mechanics who need a start. What do you say?" Ethan's eyes widened. I can't accept that." "Why not?" "Because you don't owe me anything." Victoria smiled softly. "You're right, but this isn't about owing. It's about believing in people who still care. You helped me when you didn't have to. Now it's my turn to do the same." Ethan hesitated, his heart racing. "I don't even know what to say." "Say yes," she said gently. "Let's build something together." Months passed. With Victoria's support, Ethan's small garage transformed into a modern auto service center, not flashy, but honest, efficient, and welcoming. He trained young men and women from poor backgrounds, teaching them everything he knew about mechanics and integrity. The place became known as Langford and Son Auto, a name Victoria insisted on in honor of his father. Business flourished, but more than that, lives changed. Victoria often visited, sometimes dressed in her business suits, other times in jeans, chatting with the trainees, laughing with Ethan. Slowly, what began as gratitude grew into friendship. And something deeper. One evening, as the sun set behind the workshop, painting the sky orange and gold, Victoria stood beside Ethan, watching the apprentice's work. "You've built something incredible here," she said softly. He looked at her with a grateful smile. "We built it together." She met his gaze, her eyes shimmering. "Funny, isn't it? I thought I had everything, but maybe what I was missing wasn't something I could buy." Ethan looked at her for a long moment before replying quietly, "Sometimes the richest hearts belong to those who give without expecting anything back." For a while, neither of them spoke. The air was filled with the soft sounds of laughter and tools clinking in the background. Then, almost shyly, she said, "You know, when my tire went flat that day, I thought it ruined my morning, but now I think it fixed something much bigger." He smiled. Maybe fate just needed a reason to cross our roads. They both laughed softly, standing side by side as the light faded. It wasn't the beginning of a love story defined by luxury or drama, but by respect, kindness, and the belief that good people still exist. Years later, Ethan's workshop became a chain of repair centers across the country, known for their honesty and affordable service. Each branch had a small plaque on the wall with a quote that read, "Kindness is free, but it always pays back more than cash ever will." Whenever people asked Ethan how he built such a successful company, he would smile and say, "It started with a flat tire and someone who believed in doing good." And as for Victoria, she remained by his side, partner, mentor, and friend, living proof that when hearts meet through kindness, they can fix far more than cars. They can fix lives. Soft emotional music plays. The narrator's voice returns, warm and reflective. Sometimes life brings people together in the most unexpected ways. A small act of kindness can ripple through time, changing destinies. Ethan's story reminds us that goodness never goes unnoticed, and that even when the world seems cold, one simple act of compassion can light a spark that warms countless hearts. Thank you for watching Starts of Soul. If this story touched you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that remind you of the power of kindness, love, and humanity. Until next time, keep your soul kind and your heart open.